All right, hopefully I'm live and everyone can hear me. If not, put something in the chat and I'll see what I can do. I've got a little bit of extra noise in the room and in the whole planetarium office area. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Jeff, for chiming in with the note on the audio. So I'm using a plug-in headset because I'm having a little bit of problem with the Bluetooth headset, but also I have some machines on in the room because I've been encoding some content, some video files to play in the dome, in the full dome format. Um, and oh yes, and the office areas to the planetarium, the outer office, the parts that are more public facing, are finally getting the new furniture right now. These folks are putting it all together right now, so there's sometimes some loud noise as they go through that, and it's really exciting for the planetarium because while we've been fortunate enough to get new to us furnishings over the years from other parts of the college that were undergoing renovations. And so we were able to replace older office furnishings that way. This is the first time that we're getting a complete set of new furnishings that go pretty well with the ones for the rest of the college. So I'm really excited about this, even though it's not the area that I'm going to be working in much. I'm more of a behind the scenes person and in the planetarium dome kind of person for that. So very exciting. Let me go ahead and switch this to let me get the monitor turned on. So there we go. I think that should be good. So the planetarium calendar right now. So today's the 17th, and this week we have our matinee shows on Tuesday afternoon and Thursday morning. So the matinee shows are One World, One Sky, Big Bird's Adventure, and Did an Asteroid Really Kill the Dinosaurs? And those are again Tuesday afternoons and Thursday mornings. And then of course Friday we have Summer Prairie Skies at 7 and I'll be presenting. So we'll check out some of my favorite sights of the summer sky. And then at 8 we have Dawn of the Space Age. So it's a neat uh, space exploration history up until about it's current up to about 10 years ago. And with so many things moving forward now with space exploration, it's kind of neat to be able to see how it began. And if you're around another time, we'll be able to, I'm not sure when we're bringing it back, but we have Forward to the Moon is a neat program on that, a little bit of history, but more on the current and future explorations that are planned. It's just a great time to be interested in space exploration. Also, if you are on our website, you can check out, let me see if I can find it, under educational resources, star charts. And the summer star chart, I'm not going to open it because it's a PDF and it's a really bright white background. And I'm going to be doing something later that has a white background. So don't want to give myself a headache yet on that. But it is a PDF. You can download it, you can print it, and it's a very simple, basic star map. And you can take it out in the sky, and if it doesn't matter if it gets crumpled if you print it out, it's okay. And you can give it a shot, see if you could find any of those constellations. There's also a lot of apps that you can have on the phone, and of course on the website, the Stellarium website, which the web version, which I don't remember. I think it was one of the first, it might have been the first of these live casts that I did earlier in the season. So you just go right there and you download it, you click it, and that's pretty cool. Okay, so what have I been up to lately? Well, the big thing was yesterday. Seems like a long time ago. So if you're wondering who Jeff Bryant is in the chat, he is my husband, and yesterday was his birthday. And I'll leave it up to him if he wants to put the age in the chat. I won't tell him on him. But he wanted to just explore a location in Missouri that has some nifty geology. And so we went to Johnson Shut-ins and 21. No, he's not 21. Oh my goodness. That would make me a far greater person who dates younger people than I am. He's 3 years younger than I am. But yeah, so I won't give away my own age, only unless he fesses up in the chat on what his real age is. But we went to Johnson Shut-in Park, and it was really neat. Now, I mean, it's a recreation area. People go and play around in the water. We certainly weren't dressed for that, and it was one of those nasty air quality days, and so I'm real sensitive to that. So, but we walked to one of those areas, and I definitely want to go back at a time when I can go in the water to just touch some of these rocks, because you're looking at areas that were, I don't even remember the language that Jeff was using to describe it to me, but it was not rock formed by the sediment action, but from the cooling rock, not volcanic on the surface, but under the surface kind of thing. And really just neat to see these differences. Of course, there are sediments that are washed down from the river, and you can see the color difference, just incredible. And we're looking at these little, I don't know, what were the name of the white specks in there, Jeff? You can type them in the chat. And it was so cool. And we took a few pictures, not a lot, because there were a lot of people running around, and we're going to go back at some point to get better pictures. Also, a shout out. I'd never heard of this until Julie Angel. Shout out to Julie Angel. She's natural sciences. She's geology and earth sciences instructor extraordinaire. So passionate. Just her passion for these topics. It really is infectious. She got me all excited about plate tectonics and all kinds of other stuff. And she had visited this location and shared a bunch of pictures on it. And that's what really put the idea into Jeff's head, I think. And oh, it was so cool. So we'll go back at some point to get better images, ones that I can use in the planetarium dome. But after we went to that park and checked it out, we then took a scenic route, and we were able to, now we've done scenic routes before to look for fossils, because Jeff is big into fossils. So he knows about a lot of road cuts. Well, we found out from Julie about some other locations, and one of them that we thought would be cool was a road cut that showed a feature that if I had heard of it, I'm sure it was in passing, but it just sounds so cool. The Great Unconformity. And I'm going to share links, and I'll even show you here. There are the tabs are already in my browser on the Great Unconformity, and some links that Jeff found for me to, if you want to read more about it. But the cool thing is, right, it's this area. This, let me go back to the full view here. Okay, so it's this area, right? It's these places it's all over the earth, but there are gaps in the geologic layers that can be observed where just all the material got dissolved, washed away. I'm not sure on the processes, and I think a lot of people have studied it and have different ideas on how these gaps come about. And there's this road cut that we stopped at, and it was really cool because and I've got a picture that I'm going to share that's got Jeff standing there. And I stayed in the car and just rolled the window down. Like I said, the air quality was really messed up, so it was bothering me a lot. But I rolled down enough to get pictures of him, and I took a series of pictures all around, well, not all around, but from the car, to stitch together using a piece of free and open source software that I really like. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead and show some of those links. So, the Wikipedia on Great Unconformity, one of the many unconformities or gaps observed in geologic strat. I am not going to read this. You can read it yourself. We'll have the link in the notes below. But some of the other cool links on it. This one goes into a lot of neat. This is the spot that we went to, by the way. But this is not Jeff. This is not Jeff. This is some other person. And it's a great photo opportunity. Just be very careful because the speed limit's pretty high there. So be careful when you're pulling off onto the side. But it is wide enough that you can pull off onto the side of the road. But of course, be careful, observe traffic laws, be safe if you have any children with you. Just really, really good information in it. This one I like too because it showed more about locations in Missouri and what you can observe and why. And this one, a lot of detailed information. And I'm not, Jeff, you should have typed in that you're not seeing this. Thank you. Yes, so I'm going to go back and do this to the monitor only so that you're not having to see my face on this. Okay, and I'll start with the Wikipedia one. Transition, yes. Okay. I was in a rush this morning trying to get the audio going, and so I'm totally discombobulated. Okay, so this is the Wikipedia page, and it mostly shows the Grand Canyon information. And here's some of the other sites. And I remember there was something that Jeff thought was pretty cool. Yes, so here it is in the EOS article. We've got stuff from someone at the University of Illinois here at Urbana-Champaign area, and I thought that's kind of neat. Local link, and if you want to learn more about it, check these sites out. It is so cool. So here's the one on geology, a little bit on geology of Missouri, and here's another on the Great Conformity. It's gets into a lot of details. Very cool. I have not read this one yet, and I might do it over lunch sometime this week. It's going to be a crazy week, but I might give that a shot because what you have is, and this is a picture, it shows it in a different location. You've got two different ages of rocks that are visible, and it's really cool because the boundary, there should be a whole bunch of other stuff in there given the ages. So there's a huge age difference between what you're seeing below and what you're seeing above. And I see in the chat that we are joined by a dear old friend of ours, John Potts. Hi, John. And let's see, there was one other thing I was going to share, and this is in the links. Now, for those of you who don't know, my husband, Jeff, he works across town for Wolfram Alpha. And of course, that means he also works a lot with Mathematica, the main product of Wolfram Research. And he did a few weeks ago after instructor Julie Angel, that I mentioned earlier, after she posted on her Facebook about her trip there, it got Jeff all excited, and he let me go ahead and add myself back into the view. There we go, since there's a lot of room on the side. And so he made a Wolfram community post showing a whole bunch of stuff about geology in the United States. And it's really cool. Now, there's parts in it that do show how to create these little visualizations in Mathematica Notebook. So this gets into it if you use Mathematica and really want to see how this was done. But even if not, it's kind of fun to nerd out on just some of the how-to on this. And to see that if you do use a tool like Mathematica, which honestly I don't use very much, I'm so focused on our Planetarium software and on using so many free and open source software programs that I sadly haven't learned Mathematica yet. Sorry, Jeff. I know. It's certainly on my big bucket list because there's so much you can do with it. And although it is not open source software, it does something that I really wish more proprietary software would do. Is it's multi-platform, and so I love that they do support more than one platform on that. Okay, well, enough about that because I'm not advertising anything. I'm just wanting to share some of what he put together because it was really neat ways of showing some of this stuff. So links will be included, certainly. I love how he demonstrates how he creates these things. Ah, so cool. Okay, so the thing that I wanted to share with you is something that we did. Let me see if I can open. I'm going to put this. Oh, I don't know if I can. All right, I'm going to move this over. Okay, so let's make this big. Yay, it's big. They should be up there. That's me pretending to look at the monitor behind me. All right, so we took a series of pictures just with my cell phone, and I'm sitting in the car. You can even see the car window and reflection of my arms in there, and overlapping pictures. And then using a piece of software called Hugin, which I'll certainly include the link to that, where you can download it and install it. I stitched together the images into a wider format image that I can then display in the planetarium, which I haven't installed it yet. There just wasn't time today, but I'll be doing that later today. And I know that from previous experience, that looks really, really cool. So what was I doing to it? I will bring the software up. Okay, so I'm going to make it bigger. Oh, so bright. Oh, that bright white kills me a little bit. So, all right. The first step, let me start it over from a fresh new file. And yeah, I know that that's goofy, but I'm going to load the images and I'm going to source. Now, I went through a wide number of images ahead of time and found the ones that just were best in terms of exposure and overlap. And I'm just going to select all of them, and it brings them in. Now I need to tell it to align them. And I'm not even going to look at this thing while it works because it's yeah, the white background and the text is just messes with my eyes and my head. So I'm going to sip my coffee. So right now what it's doing, or I think it's doing, is it created control points. It's doing all these alignment calculations and stuff. And it didn't quite give me what I wanted automatically. It twisted things around. Now I went with equirectangular as the type of projection. I don't need that field of view. Ignore that. I'm not going to do a whole 360. I could. I have done that before where I even get my feet below, that kind of thing, and stitches together nicely, but not doing that in this case, certainly. So let me go back to the preview section, and I'm going to go to move drag. So I am moving the whole thing. I just grabbed it and I'm moving it. I also want to change this triangle here, triangle, 4 sides. It's a rectangle. Thank you. And I'm going to change the cropping. La la la. I'm just dragging these shaded areas over. There we go. See, the shading lights up when I hover over it with my mouse. And this is so cool. There's other software out there that is not free and open source software. And that's great. If you've got something already for stitching, it's wonderful. Also, if you've made a whole bunch of different pictures with multiple cameras, so you're doing time series type of work, you could also save out the Hugin file, and then you can have a command line script that will stitch them for you. I've done that, not so much with real pictures, but I've done that before. It's been years though, with images that I generated that I output using Blender, and then it was able to stitch them. I think I had my personal blog. I haven't touched it up in a long time, but I even did a blog post on that at one point. I may try next week to share with Blender using an internal tool with an add-on that somebody created that I was experimenting with last week. So I might share that next time. In fact, now I got to make a note. Okay, make a note to share that particular add-on next time so you can see how to do it internally. So here I've just moved the cropping, and now I'm going to go back into the move drag, and I'm repositioning just a little bit. Let's see. Make it there. You can try to straighten it, but it'll not necessarily give you what you're looking for. And I'm not going to do fit because I think fit will change the cropping back to what it thought I should do. I love that you can have automated tools, but that you can also then take the manual control to set it back to the way that you want it. Okay, so I think it's going to be more like that. All right, go back to the cropping and we'll get that better. Okay. All right, so I like it. I want to see how this outputs. So this is where I can go back to the assistant part. By the way, on the Hugin interface, you can choose between simple, advanced, and expert. Sometimes I will use advanced or expert just if I'm trying to say like, oh, use this image in part of the stitching, but use the light setting from a different image. So there's different things I might use it for, but most of the time I will use the simple because I get the assistant that way. So it's done the aligning. I've made my adjustments to it. And now we're going to tell it to create the panorama. I'll save it right now, save as, and I'm going to tell it to, let's see, I already did Great Unconformity. I'm going to now change that to Great Unconformity demo so that I can go back into it if I need to and know which one I was doing. All right, create panorama. There's different settings. This says how big it's going to make it. I'm just going to let it do TIFF, but I could have it do JPEG or PNG also. I'm going to go ahead and just use the exposure corrected low dynamic range. Something that I like for this software is I can, if I wanted to, I'm not going to do it for this demo, but I could keep the intermediate images, because what it does is it stitches the images in sets and then stitches those sets together. And sometimes you want to keep parts of it together and then later on go in and see if you want to clone off of part of it to clone onto the final image. You don't always want to do that, but sometimes you do. And I'll click OK. It wants to make sure that it saves, and then it asks for the prefix. I'm just going to go with the title of the file that we saved it as, and it's doing a lot of work. I'll move these onto it. These little windows come up that shows you what it's doing. I'm not really staring at them because, again, the crazy headache stuff. So another reason that you might want to go into an advanced mode on it is on Hugin is that you might need to mask out parts of an image. In the Planetarium, we like showing a full panorama of the Champaign-Urbana Astronomical Society's Prairie Winds Observatory. And when I made that panorama, well, I had my car with me, right? And I couldn't hide the car somewhere because you can't drive behind the observatory dome. So I got the shots with the car. Now I did that with a camera on a tripod so I could do this more easily, because with the cell phone I wouldn't have it in the same exact position. So I got a bunch of all the shots, and then I moved the car and got the shots again. And so then when I went to use it in Hugin, I could use parts that had the car, parts that didn't have the car, and then I could use the advanced mode and I could go in and tell it to mask off the areas that I didn't want used in the image. So that's a pretty cool thing that you can do. So it's powerful under the hood. Also, if you have purchased software under that, you can there's different software that you can buy for stitching and blending that Hugin can use if you've purchased those. But it also has open source ones that it comes with that you can use, and that's just what I go with. All right, looks like it is done, so I'm going to open. Whew, much better. Dark mode. I love dark mode. And the result that I just did was the one for the demo, so I will open it. Oh, you know what? Okay, this is with Windows. Crazy white background. I am not going to look at that. I'm going to open it in GIMP because I I have that set up for dark mode. All right, there we go. And let me I just used the minus key on the keyboard. So this is the one that we just made. The cropping wasn't perfect, but yeah, that's pretty good on there. Very nice. I did one earlier. The first one I did had a little bit more of a curve, so I went in manually and straightened it. This is the one that I will try in the dome. And I also might do a little bit of editing here to darken the sky a little bit so that I can get better enhance the contrast of the image so it will look even better in the dome. Yeah, definitely give this a shot. If you already have panoramic stitching software that you really like, that's great. Phones have a lot of built-in stuff that they can use, where you just take the pictures and internally it'll do that. I've used that. It's great, but you get distortion errors and stitching errors in some places. If the breeze has blown on a tree or something, and with software like Hugin or other commercial applications, you can go in and tell it, hey, let's mask out the tree that moved and just use the tree from this image. But you don't have the intermediate images in the software, at least that I tried, that let me do the stitching all around. So yeah, give it a try. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to put the links to it in the... Oh, let me switch directly back to, there we go. And, excellent. This is there we go. Okay. So this is the Hugin page. So huginsourceforge.io. And there's, yours won't look like this. Their page doesn't adapt all that well to the forced dark mode that I have, but it's great. You can download it by platform. There's examples. There are some tutorials, and it's really cool. Now, if you make some really cool stitched images of scenery here in Illinois or Missouri, or anywhere that's cool geology or just an interesting feature, especially if you're local here to the Staerkel Planetarium, the Champaign-Urbana Astronomical Society, Champaign-Urbana area. If you're a member of the COAS group, of course, I did want to put a link to them. I'll get that because they have their meetings here, and you can find out when they're going to be out at that observatory, and then you can see what I mentioned before yourself. And if you're here at the Planetarium show, that's where I'm going with that thought, mix my thoughts up, you can then see that panorama in action. But if you yourself make an interesting panorama, you can get with me, contact me, and we can get it into the Planetarium Dome to display it. I have a lot of our faculty here at the college and staff taking interesting pictures on their vacations, and I've already taken a few of those and have them available to show in the dome. It's really fun. Oh, I see another longtime friend I haven't seen just popped up in the chat as well. Thanks, Dan. Good to see you on there. I'm gonna start crying because there's a lot of friends I haven't seen in so long. Um, all right, that about does it. So I'll make sure to put the all of these links in the description notes here on the YouTube video. Also, if you again come visit us, the calendar page, I'll put that back up. It's here. It's in events. I know it's here. There we go. So, matinee shows tomorrow afternoon, Thursday morning. We only have one more week, and actually, after this week, only one more day of matinees. And then the Friday night, come see me Friday night, be doing Summer Prairie Skies. And, if you stop by and I happen to have the system on and I'm not doing a show, I can show you the picture that I just made, the stitching I just made of the Great Unconformity area over there with Jeff standing there with, one layer over his head and another geologic layer that at the on the sides there, and be able to show that in the planetarium. All right, thank you all so much. Oh my goodness, another friend in the chat. Oh, thank you all so much. Um all right, I'm getting emotional on here. But y'all can forgive me for this. I've been a planetarian for many years here at the Staerkel Planetarium for 23 years now. And so I've made a lot of planetarium friends along the way, and I haven't been able to visit with any of them. So it's just feels really nice to be able to see them even here virtually. All right, so I'll make sure to get all of those links in the notes. Thank you all so much. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast, and hopefully it will end properly. I know last time it showed that it was still live long after it was done, so hopefully this will be okay. Oh, I almost forgot ending music and that video that I made that I talked about a few weeks ago, but it also has the credits for the music, so I want to make sure to get that in. All right, thank you all so much.